What's going on, guys? So I think this is episode 9 of Behind the Map. So we're gonna do God, I'm gonna do an episode of the new recently map that I made with Void Runner Frag like it's 1994. So I guess I should talk about the title. Originally, this map was supposed to be called Return to 1994.wad. Eventually, Void Runner he thought like back to 1994.wad was better. So I was like, okay, if you want that, that's cool. But unfortunately, when we put the name in the map, we got like the what is it? We got like the error invalid name, and yeah, it was just disappointing. I really feel like those names that I mentioned are much better than Frag. Like it's 1994. I actually came up with that like little name or term because Void Runner, he was like I think he was like asking me for any suggestions for like the description of the map, and I think I said like Frag like it's 1994 out of nowhere, and he was like, oh, that's good, I'll take that. I'm like, sure. But yeah, I think the map name for I mean, we obviously wanted a name that kind of like tell players that this is a classic Doom map, and I feel like that was the best one we could possibly do. But yeah, so back when Void Runner was still making his maps, I think what is it? I think he only showed me like this portion right here. I remember like this area was done like at least from like a visual standpoint, and I remember no, he did not show me that area. I don't remember that. I remember he like showed me like this area, this area, and yeah, just three areas. This, and this one. I remember like this one was completely done, or it was this one. I'm not really quite sure, but it was either like those two. They looked fairly finished to me. And then like out here, I remember it was like 65% or 70% done. And when I mean like done, like I'm just talking like the mapping, not like everything. So he didn't have any of the game. Oh shit, I forgot. I should take this thing out. So he didn't have any of like the game play at all. And from what I saw, I was like, wow, dude, this looks really impressive. Even though like it's not done, but I really liked what he was going for. And I think he told me he was trying to go for like a heretic or hexen style. And I think what made him did that was because he was recently playing. He's been playing heretic and hexen, and I'm like, that's cool, man. Like this definitely looks nice, and it definitely fits kind of like the style that I'm looking for a classic Doom map. Because I personally felt like we shouldn't like make a tech base um a tech base 1.5. Like I really felt like we should try to do something different, and I'm really glad that Void Runner decided to kind of like go for a more hellish and twisted type of vibe. And speaking of tech base, I was actually the main reason why we decided to do a classic map, because I'm such a fan of like Void Runner's tech base series, and I know he hasn't really made a new tech base, and I know a lot of people are fans of his tech base series too. So I'm like, you know what, guys? I was like, you know what, dude? We should totally make a classic map, because I feel like this could be like a good appetizer for people who are waiting for Tech Base 4. Yeah, Tech Base Map 4. And not only that, there's just not a lot of classic, custom geo maps. So I just felt like it was right for us to make a classic Doom custom geo map instead of like a modern one like what we did with the Infernal Machine. So, who did this map first? Void Runner did it first, and mainly because I was still not really confident with my mapping ability, at least like classic mapping ability. Like I still needed to play around with like the textures, still needed to kind of explore. So I let Void Runner did his stuff first, and this time Void Runner did a lot more than what he did with Infernal Machine. Like Infernal Machine, it was basically like 75% me and 25. Actually, it was more like 70% of me and 30% of him. So yeah, we tried to like make our work our work effort a lot more reasonable. So this time it feels a lot more like 50-50. He did a lot of stuff here. Let me see if there's anything else I can like talk about like the development process behind Void Runners modules. So I know like it was inspired by Heretic. I pretty much talked about that we should make a custom. I mean that we should make like a classic custom geo map. Is there anything more that I can currently remember? I really love what he did with this like idea right here. I think this definitely spices up the fight, and I really love like the revenant traps too. Like this was definitely a really cool fight. So, oh, now I remember. So basically, I remember he told me that he wanted the gameplay to kind of feel like Doom 1, like not too many enemies, not too much like his modern maps, where the modern maps he's more inspired by like Serious Sam, like kind of like these big open arenas, and it's all like lockdowns, and he just throws in like a bunch of enemies. So he tried not to do too many of that, and I definitely got like a strong Doom 1 vibe out of it. And since his stuff was so much inspired by Doom 1, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to make my stuff more inspired by Doom 2, because Doom 2 is my favorite game. And not only that, why not throw in the Doom 2 inspiration to it? Because I could definitely tell like there was a lot of Doom 1 inspiration when playing Void Runners module. So pretty much all of that stuff that I showed, that was all Void Runners part. And I personally think it looks really nice. And I wish I could like give you guys more like background info, but I'm not Void Runner. I'm just trying to like give you guys what he wanted to do with his modules and all that stuff. And I have to say, I really love like this little lookout base right here. I just thought that was really cool. And yeah, basically like I said, I knew like we didn't want to do like a tech based type of map, but at the same time we still wanted to like make the map play as well as tech based, and still give you that certain appetizer for tech based map 4 if he ever will release tech based map 4. But anyways, let's get into my module. So this is where I start to come into play. So I told him like just kind of like do your thing, and then create some sort of corridor for me to work upon, and I'll try to like fit in the theme. So this is what I decided to do. So I tried to kind of like use some textures that might fit in this little house, I guess. And I feel like this was a pretty good start, and it's pretty straightforward. It's just a lot of simple fights. This fight right here is pretty interesting because there's a little trap here. So I've been playing a lot of like what is it, Doom 2 WADs. I've been playing Requiem and Vile Flesh, and one thing I noticed about Requiem is that they like to throw in so many traps. Like it's one of those mega WADs where you just gotta like save it for like every 2 minutes, because there's always going to be some unsuspecting trap that's going to happen. And it is kind of like fun, but it is kind of annoying at the same time, because I absolutely hate some of their traps, especially like the ones with the chain gunners and stuff. But so I decided to get some inspiration with that, but I tried not to make it too like cruel like what Requiem did, because Requiem, the way how the map plays, at least on ultra violence, they pretty much like expect you to know these traps, because once, if you don't know the traps, like you're just guaranteed to lose a crap load of health, or you're just gonna die, and there's no way you could like basically like the map designer, he won't like forgive you for those mistakes. But I try to forgive you a little bit by having some health packs here, because having two Hell Knights attacking you, I just thought like that would be really mean if I didn't give you any sort of health packs. And yeah, this is pretty straightforward. So the area starts to get a lot more hellish, because I noticed that Void Runner was trying to like make his area look a lot more grotesque, but I felt like I could outdo him in that section eventually. So basically, this whole idea, I kind of wanted this area, at least like my module, I kind of wanted my module, as like you played, like the areas kind of get a lot more darker, a lot more like scarier and creepier and all that stuff. And then this is like the teleporter system here. So I knew, not teleporter, like the portal. So basically, I kind of wanted to take inspiration from my Decipher Map 6. I really liked it what I did with that. teleporter system, but this time I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different, not like make it so obvious like I did in Decipher Map 6. I eventually have 4 portals, and one of them is kind of like hidden in a way, but I did kind of give you a little bit of a clue, and I will eventually like explain that. So basically, you go into the first portal. I think it's this module. All right, so yeah, you go in this little module here. So there's a little bit of a trap, some imps, and then some enemies are gonna spawn. This trap was inspired by what is it? Map 21 from Doom 2. I've always loved it, that trap from Nirvana, so I definitely wanted to get some sort of inspiration from it. And as like the walls open up, it becomes pretty much a very intense showdown. A very, I guess, like very Doom 2 type of like fight, because Doom 2 always liked it to throw in like lots of enemies and stuff. And yep, you're in pretty much like a hellish city type of environment. And this is by far the most non-linear part of the map, and there's definitely a lot of exploration you could do. And that's kind of like what I like to do in my maps. I always love to like let people explore and just play with it. So basically, this fight is kind of like a lockdown a little bit. Basically, I want you to like kill everything, and once you kill everything, the areas where you need to go with the switches, like this right here, they will eventually be gone, and this one too. And yep, so this part, just a little bit more exploration. This area right here, you just go here for the Gauss cannon, the one with the zoom, and the mastered combat shotgun, the 3-shot burst. Just more stuff to kill, more exploration, that's always good. And this little marble area. So this area is interesting. So recently, if I can remember properly, wait, Void Runner, he actually tried to like make this area a lot more obvious this time, because originally I actually wanted this area to kind of like have like a marble texture, but I just felt like that was not really the right thing to do, so I decided to play around with the textures a bit. And I don't know what he did right here. I think, let me check, because this is his map. I mean, he uploaded the map, so he's doing all like the changes and stuff. Oh, so this time he added a box trigger, so he's pretty much letting players know that this is like a door right here, and that's very smart of them. So yep, not only he did that, but he also like changed the texture too to make it look more like a door rather than like the wall and stuff.